Could it be? Could it really be that I'm back? What? Hey guys, it's Jenny with Solid Gold, and yes, I am back with another new video. I have to say that I am really sorry that it took me so long to get back into the swing of things and making videos again. I did take a short break for a few months there, so I don't know if you can really call it short, but I took a break for a few months. I am hoping to get back into the swing of things now, and I'm making a new video just to give you guys kind of an update on what's been going on with me and my fish. I went through a number of life changes, and if you want the full details, feel free to head on over to my website. I did write a blog post about it on solidgoldfish.com. I'm living in a small one-bedroom apartment now as opposed to owning my own house. So that's just one of the many changes that have taken place, and I have had to downsize quite a bit, so I no longer have a fish room. I do still have goldfish, of course, but I've had to kind of take a step back and downsize a little bit. So I don't have quite as many fish or as many tanks, but hopefully someday I am hoping to get back to that, you know, having my own fish room and everything. So here's my 75-gallon tank. I have to say that I really missed being able to see my butterflies inside view, and I'm sure you guys did as well, because for so long all we've been able to see is them from the top. And of course I do have the underwater camera that I can put in there and see them from the side sort of, but it's still just, it's not the same as having them in a clear-sided aquarium. This tank it's a 75-gallon tank, but it has a roughly 85-gallon capacity because I have a sump or wet-dry filter underneath the tank, under the stand, and that is constantly, gravity is feeding water down from the tank, from the surface of the aquarium, down into the sump, where it is then filtered through some sponge layers and ceramic media, and also those blue bio balls that you can see in there, and then it is pumped back up. The water path splits into one path goes through a UV sterilizer and then back into the tank, and the other path just goes into the tank. Now, right now I don't have the UV sterilizer turned on, but I do have it going through it just because that's how it's plumbed. So in this tank right now I have 3 adult butterflies. There is Luca, who I've had for 2 years now, and then Sophie and Clyde, who I've had each of them for 1 year now. Sophie and Clyde are from Dandy Arandas, and Luca is from another seller who sometimes sells on Aquabid. And then the 2 little ones in there are a couple of babies from my butterfly telescope spawns that I had a while ago. What was that, about 6 months ago now probably? So they are growing up, and I actually had a couple of my viewers help name them. You guys chose Edgar for the bigger one with more orange, and then Asha for the smaller one that's kind of half orange and half white. And Asha is super pretty. She has scales that are refractive. It looks like they're kind of almost crinkled looking, like maybe a hammer scale, and so she is a lot more shiny, and the light glints off of the scales in a different way than my other fish, which is really interesting. Now, I did have 3 other adult butterfly telescopes. There was Monocle, Minai, and Felix, and those 3 passed away kind of in the confusion of my life situation and just having to move and everything. So those 3 passed away, and I have been a little bit worried about my other fish. Just to be extra cautious, I did a 14-day course of Metromeds for these guys, and they have finished that now with flying colors. They look as healthy as they ever have, and I have high hopes for them going forward. I also did about 5 rounds of Aquaprazi just in case there was any flukes happening. Now, one thing to note is that Goldfish Connection, which is the website that sells Metromeds, is now out of business. And I didn't even know that when I bought my Metromeds back in September. And I just actually recently found out a couple of days ago, thanks to Cynthia from East Coast Ranchu. In one of her videos, she gives all the alternatives to Metromeds that you can find and use for your fish instead of Metromeds, because Metromeds were exclusive to Goldfish Connection. So actually you won't be able to get Metromeds at all anymore. Their whole stock is sold out. they are out of business, they are gone. So there's no more Metromeds unless you can find somebody that still happens to have some, but other than that, there's no more Metromeds at all. So if you want, I will go ahead and type up the list that Cynthia compiled. So thank you so much, Cynthia, to that. I have to give credit to her for doing her research and finding a list of viable alternatives for you guys. And I will also link to her video where she gives the list too. I've been doing water changes in this tank every few days, and big water changes too, because like I said, you know, I was worried that they might get sick because the other ones had passed away. So in addition to medicating them with Aquaprazi and Metromeds, I was trying to keep the water as pristine as possible so that if there was anything going on, the fish, their immune systems would be able to handle it because there wouldn't be the extra stress of a poor environment. I feel that it's kind of therapeutic to do water changes, so by the time I'm done, you know, the tank is all nice and clean and I'm finished, I'm like, okay, where's the next tank that I can clean? Because it's just like a good feeling to be able to do that for the fish and to be able to see the results right away of a nice, beautiful, clean tank. A couple weeks ago, I started noticing that Clyde was chasing Sophie around quite a bit, and it looked suspiciously like spawning or, you know, pre-spawning behavior in how much he was chasing her. And then the other day, I noticed about 4 eggs that were unfertilized. I'm stumped as to why there was only 4, and they weren't even all in the same spot. They were all spread throughout the tank. Like there was 2 on one side of the tank and 2 on the other side of the tank. And I've never had it before where they will spawn and just eat all of the eggs. Usually you can see at least, you know, like 20 that are still kind of hidden in the plants and stuff in places where the goldfish can't reach them, because they will go when they're finished spawning, or the other fish that aren't included in the spawning will go around and eat all the eggs when they're done. But usually there are still at least, like I said, 20 eggs that you can see evidence of that they had spawned, because they can't find all of them. So the only thing I can think of is either it was just a really, really weak spawn, like not very many eggs at all, or it was a normal size spawn, but with the 2 smaller fish in there, maybe they were able to find all those eggs in the hard to reach places better than the big adult fish. I don't know, but I'm hoping they'll spawn again, and I do still have some spawning mops from my previous fish room that I'm gonna go ahead and put in the tank next time I notice a lot of chasing, because I would love to raise some babies again. That was super fun, and it's definitely something I want to continue to do in the future. Right now I'm feeding about half Saki Hikari green bag imported directly from Japan, and then the other half of their diet consists of Repashy Soylent Green. And I'm kind of doing half and half because even with, I've learned this with cat and dog nutrition or any pet nutrition, it can apply to any pet nutrition as well, but there's still a lot that we don't know about pet nutrition. Even if you do your research and you find a food for your fish that is nutritionally complete and balanced, there's still a lot of things that we don't know about their nutrition and how to balance a diet for them. So to cover as many bases as possible, it's variety is key. So feeding them at least 2 different staple foods every day, just to make sure that if there's something lacking in one that we don't really know about, hopefully it'll be present in the other one. So 2 foods that are nutritionally different in some way will help cover your bases and give you the best chances of success. So that's what they've been eating. I do about 4 feedings a day, small amounts, well, relatively small compared to the size of the fish, and they seem to do well on that. It is good to feed your fish small amounts and then frequently throughout the day, rather than all their food for the day at one feeding. And yes, there are live plants in my tank now. I did have live plants years ago, mostly Anubias and Java fern, and I got away from it, but I decided that I wanted to try it out again and see how it goes. I have about 60 pounds of Tahitian moon sand in the tank. 60 pounds is quite a bit more than I would normally use in this size aquarium, but I have that much because I wanted it to cover up the base of the plants. The plants are actually planted in these aquarium planters made by Riparium Supply, and I actually featured them in the most recent giveaway video that I did. It makes it so that fish that tend to dig a lot, like goldfish and sun cichlids, can't uproot your plants, or at least not as easily. And I've tried these before with stem plants and it didn't work very well. They just didn't do well in there. But now I'm using it with rooted plants, plants that have a root system, and that's what's actually recommended to use in these. And so far it's working out better, and I've only had them for a few weeks. So that might not be a very good judge, but so far so good. I am seeing new leaves come up here and there. The plants I have are from Planted Aquariums Central, and it's a website that I have been using for plants for years, and I've always had really good experiences getting my plants from that website, and I would highly recommend it. They look kind of sad right now because they're kind of sparse, but I'm really excited to see them in a few months when they've really kind of filled out and started to grow in better. I'm having a bit of a brown algae, or the correct term is diatom, problem right now. The diatoms are growing on some of the leaf surfaces. I tried decreasing the amount of light that they got, but that the tank got, but it hasn't really helped a whole lot. So I just yesterday ordered about 10 horned nearite snails to hopefully help with that problem, and I will keep you guys posted on if that ends up helping or not. So that's all we have for the update today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I also just have to take a moment to say a really heartfelt thanks for sticking with me even though I was gone with little explanation for so long. As you guys know, sometimes life just happens. Sometimes life gets in the way and you have to focus on other things. And that's what happened with me, but I'm really happy to be back. It's been a long time since I just kind of sat down and made a video for you guys and interacted with you guys and heard from you and shared with you, and so this is going to be really exciting for me to kind of get back into the swing of things. And make sure you stick around and stay tuned for next week. I made a new goldfish drawing, and I'm going to be sharing the video of the process of drawing that next Monday. So stay tuned, check back. Stay connected with me on Facebook and Instagram throughout the week, and I'll see you next time. Until then, stay gold.